Hey, what's up everyone? Jeff here from Pure Tesla. Today I'm going to take you through the Autonomy Day for investors that took place a couple days ago. I'm going to take you through some of the more salient points. That whole event was about 4 hours long. We're going to try and boil it down to just a few minutes to give you the information that you need to know. Additionally, we're going to also talk about the range enhancement for the Model S and X vehicles. Any new Model S or X that you purchase now comes with a boosted range. Find out more coming up next. So as we like to start with tweets on Tesla Tweets segments, I'm going to show you this one. This one's from the Tesla account talking about how every car manufactured today, every Tesla manufactured today, is ready for full self-driving. That includes 8 cameras, 12 ultrasonics, radar, and this beast of a full self-driving computer. Let's take you through what this computer really has to offer, and I'm going to be pulling from information from the Autonomy Day for investors. So I'm going to break this down into 4 sections for you, just to kind of help keep things together. We're going to talk about the chip, the neural net accelerator, Tesla Vision, and also the Tesla network. So let's start with the chip. Not too much to say here because it's all super technical. If you're really into that, I highly recommend going and actually watching the live stream that was recorded and is now posted to the Tesla YouTube account. So what you really need to know about the chip is that it was designed to be a full self-driving chip. That's why Tesla felt it so important to actually design their own chip for their cars. They could make it handle exactly what they needed to make full self-driving a reality. The chip itself handles 2100 frames per second, which vastly improves over the current solution. Additionally, it can handle 36 tera operations per second, which is trillions of operations per second. And that is at 2 gigahertz. It rounds out to be 72 tera operations per second, which is just phenomenal. It has an onboard H.265 encoder, which does tremendous work with processing imagery and video. Currently, Samsung is the one that's actually fabricating the chip in Austin, Texas. While around a dozen patents have been filed, Elon did state that it is difficult to patent math. And since that's what this computer is really designed to do, is process math super fast, the patents really relate to chip technology itself and not the actual computational component of it. Jumping into the neural net accelerator, here's what you need to know. Full self-driving is expected to be 72 watts in operation, with 15 watts being dedicated to neural net operations. The full self-driving computer provides a 21-time acceleration running on the same neural net as its predecessor. This is a tremendous improvement, and the chip designer himself said he's never even been part of a project that achieved more than a 3-time enhancement from iteration to iteration. So a 21-time improvement, incredible. Compared to NVIDIA's previous solution, the new Tesla full self-driving computer offers 144 tera operations per second. That is comparative to NVIDIA's 21. The cost is 80% of that of the AP2 2.5 hardware configuration. So definitely some cost savings there too, which is great. So let's talk about Tesla Vision. Elon, most notably, let's get this out of the way, backed up the fact that LiDAR is not the solution here. Watch this clip, it's just easier to show you.
What we're going to explain to you today is that LiDAR is a fool's errand. And anyone relying on LiDAR is doomed. Doomed. Expensive sensors that are unnecessary. It's like having a whole bunch of expensive appendices. Like one appendix is bad, well, now they want to put a whole bunch of them. That's ridiculous. You'll see.
So when it comes to Tesla Vision, the fleet is the asset. The fleet is what helps train everything that makes full self-driving possible. Images are just arrays of numbers and values, and the neural net is what ultimately trains the computer to better understand what it's seeing. So they gave the example in the presentation that if you're looking at a picture of an iguana, we know what an iguana looks like. We can identify an iguana because our brain has been trained that way. When a neural net first starts, bricks, that's not the case. The neural net has no idea what an iguana is. It just sees a lot of pixels that have numbers associated with them to know how bright they need to be. Now, what you can do, though, is start training the neural net like one would train their brain to understand what you're looking at. And so that's exactly what the entire fleet of Tesla vehicles is doing for Tesla Vision. It is recording snippets, sending it back to Tesla, and most notably, there is someone that's actually identifying components on the road, whether it's lane markings or objects or cars or whatever it may be. Those are first initially hand coded or hand identified, and then as the neural net continues to grow, those things are then recognized in the feedback that's being given to Tesla so that the neural net can continue growing and understanding more and more. So just like we can continue with our brains to continue growing and understanding and seeing variations, and they gave the example of different dog breeds versus just that is a dog, your Tesla is doing that with construction cone styles, different types of trucks, all the different kinds of opportunities to be able to understand differentiation between different types of objects. And that's exactly what Tesla Vision is doing to better train the neural net to better understand what your car is seeing when it's seeing something out of the characteristic understanding of a road or whatever it may be. So I found particularly interesting in this segment was that Tesla can ask the fleet for specific images or clips. If it is having trouble training the neural net on something specific, let's say it's a type of traffic cone, it can ask the fleet to record and send back clips of traffic cones so that it can better train the neural net to understand what to look for when looking at things like traffic. Another example of this was how they trained the neural net to predict a curved road. If they hadn't identified what a curved road or what a curved lane would look like, the neural net would just assume that the road would continue going straight. But because of neural net enhancements and curved road images being sent back to Tesla and then hand-coded or hand-marked, the neural net is learning how to expect a lane that is changing around a curve and predict how that curve is going to continue. The topic came up about if they're using the correct sensor suite or not with the ultrasonics, the radar, and if radar needs to be on two sides of the vehicle, the back of the vehicle, and if the camera suite is enough to be able to handle full self-driving. To that, they responded, "Vision is only possible because humans prove it all the time. We drive our cars daily with essentially two cameras. Yes, we have a lot of intuition, but that is just essentially a very robust neural net. And as Tesla continues to get feedback from 500,000, a million different cars that are running every day, it will continue building that neural net to be something that is as capable, if not more capable, than a human driver." The question came up about the radar and cameras being usable in snowy conditions, and it's something that I certainly have a lot of experience with in the Midwest with those snow-covered roads, and if they're relying on lane markings, that's not always the case, and that's not always a reality. So the response to that was Autopilot as it is actually okay in snowy conditions. It may not be in your particular software release or wasn't particularly a couple months ago, but a lot of advancements have happened and there is components of this that have not even been released for public yet. So what's interesting is that they haven't even trained the neural net for snow yet. And Elon stated that once this upcoming winter passes, Autopilot will be incredible in snowy conditions. So let's talk about the software briefly. They stated in the presentation that the confirmation nav on Autopilot was essential in being able to continue training the neural net. All of those confirmations and the way in which that we interacted with them was fed back to Tesla. That level of confidence allowed them to turn off confirmation. And since then, they've had over 100,000 unconfirmed lane changes that were successful using nav on Autopilot. Not one of them resulted in an accident, and that's awesome news to share. They're currently running the next-gen collision avoidance system in shadow mode, and that's set to be released later this year, which will predict and avoid collision with all sorts of types of objects, whether it's people, things in the road, or other cars that it can predict are going to be behaving erratically. So to touch on the Tesla network, as it was a large component of the presentation, it is very clear that Tesla is staking the company on full self-driving robotaxis. What does that mean? Well, it means that they're going to be following the Uber and Airbnb type model, where owners of vehicles have the opportunity to send their car out as a robotaxi that will generate income not only for the owner, but also for Tesla, as they plan on taking a 25 to 30% cut of whatever's made. The opportunity here is great. It's stated that owners end up driving their vehicle only about 11 to 12 hours per week. What this opportunity could do is, during those off times, your car could be out delivering people to different places and allowing income to be generated up to the tune of potentially $30,000 per year of gross profit. So if you have the ability to increase that utilization by a factor of 5, as Elon suggests, you have the capability of potentially making $30,000 a year over the course of the 11 years that the car would be viable, given the new usage amount, which is an incredible asset to an owner and to Tesla if they're planning on taking that 25% cut. Now, that is something that, the numbers are the numbers right now. They're basing it off. Somebody asked Elon where they got their numbers from, and they kind of admitted to just kind of making them up. But I think that they were being a little bit conservative in their numbers, even given that they were undercutting the competition by over half, which when they come into the market, they might end up adjusting that. And to round out that information, Elon expects to be full self-driving, feature complete by the end of this year, ready for robotaxis and the start of the Tesla network as early as Q2 of 2020, pending regulatory approval. They also stated that by Q2 of 2020, they expect 1 million vehicles to be on the road, and that to be feeding back to the neural net to just continually enhancing it. So to get to that question that everyone's asking is, will that be available right away? Can I take my car to the service center and get that new full self-driving computer installed? Elon stated that upgrading hardware is not important for a few months. So it seems as if they are not planning on retrofitting anyone's cars till at least July, August-ish. So stay tuned for more information on that upgrade plan. This really cool tweet from the Tesla account shows how easily the Tesla vehicles can do a 3D reconstruction of the world around it with just a couple of seconds of video clip. You can see here that from the 8 cameras, it's essentially reconstructed this entire city street based on a couple of seconds of video. I think that's super cool and shows the power of machine learning, the neural net, and how it can understand depth from just cameras alone. Big news for prospective Model S and X buyers coming from the Tesla account this evening, stating that the Model S will now boast a range of 370 miles for the long-range version, and the Model X boasting a 325-mile range for the long-range version. This comes with also some suspension enhancements to better ease the ride or make it more sporty depending on your need. Additionally, it states that for all current Model S and X owners, if you end up purchasing a performance version of the Model S or X, you will get the ludicrous mode for free. Now that's a $20,000 upgrade, and that is their way of saying they want to honor and value the original early adopters of those lines. Another upgrade to the Model S and X vehicles that were announced this evening is that the battery pack is now capable of 200 kilowatt supercharging on the V3 superchargers. It also will handle the 145 kilowatt on all V2 superchargers, and together it allows for current owners and new owners to supercharge at a rate that is approximately 50% faster. So the world of Tesla keeps changing, and only for the better. I'm super excited to be able to share all of this news with you, and I'm certain that there are things that I left out that you probably care about. So if you're piqued by the information at the beginning of this episode that really got into that Autonomy Day, definitely check out the live stream. It starts at about like an hour and 20 in. There was like a ton of time of just like looped awesome footage. Maybe I'll show it here while I'm talking about this, but definitely check that out if you have any particular interest. I tried to recap it as much of a general overview as possible, but there's definitely some good that's in there that I'm sure I left out. Additionally, continue to share with me what you are finding from your vehicles, and any questions that you may have, you can leave those in the comments below. You can find me on Twitter at PureTesla, and you can also email me, jeff@puretesla.com. Until next time, looking forward to talking to you in the comments, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.